The gang sit down to a meal, having been called to their current location by Fujiko. Speaking of which, she charges in with a gun in hand, engaged in a fight with someone. As she charges out, grenades land in the gang's caravan, forcing them to bail. As they wonder what just happened, Jigen finds a device in the food bowl. Turns out this is what Fujiko's attacker was looking for, as she strip-searched for it. Lupin looks over the device and determines it's a new kind of nuclear bomb detonator, simple enough for anyone to use. Worrying that the black market will have a field day, the gang narrow down their search to the Lineback Air Museum. Zenigata visits, warning Lineback that Lupin is set to steal something. They discuss things further in a special aircraft called the Albatross, recently restored to working order. Zenigata asks about nukes, giving his identity away. He then shows Lineback a fake detonator, to which Lineback shows him Fujiko, suggesting a hostage exchange. This is cut short by the real Zenigata arriving. As Lupin escapes, Lineback tells Fujiko to look forward to the Albatross taking flight and serving as his personal bomb market. Lupin and Jigen meet with Lineback for the hostage exchange. Unfortunately, Fujiko is actually a disguised Zenigata, who came with a police force. Lupin tries to protest that Lineback is producing nukes, but it falls on deaf ears. They're taken to a police van and stripped of anything that might be used to escape. Not that this works, as a fake hairpiece goes off in Zenigata's face anyway. Lupin and Jigen race away, with Goemon cutting their cuffs as they run. He also cuts the pier. Lupin races to the museum, hoping to intercept the Albatross before it launches. He catches up and tries to jump aboard, but misses. Racing back to the museum, he and Jigen find a plane that's flight-worthy as Zenigata catches up and jumps aboard. On board the Albatross, Fujiko warns that Lupin won't give up so easily. Right on cue, Lupin flies by and Lineback readies his men. Jigen steals Zenigata's gun and takes out a few missiles, but he doesn't have any spare ammo. This leads to their plane getting shot up, hitting a fuel line. Fujiko uses her charm on a soldier assigned to escort her out, kicking his face in. She then shoots her cuffs off and fights her way through the Albatross to ease the pressure on Lupin. Lineback is still at large, opening fire at Fujiko as Lupin tries to lift her to safety. He then readies a weakened grenade to Fujiko to scare her into submission. Fujiko tosses it back and it explodes in Lineback's face. It happens. The damage causes one of the engines to detach, so Lineback readies a bigger grenade. Fujiko fires at it, causing it to split and blow up parts of the Albatross, exposing the bomb construction. Lupin loses his plane's wings, taking out more Albatross engines, but manages to crash land on board. Lineback's men bail out, leaving Lupin to deal with the Albatross as it descends and heads into a mountain range. With the bombs still on board, everyone dumps as much excess weight as possible. Lineback is also still on board, threatening to blow himself up if they make a move. Zenigata grabs him as he parachutes out, however. The weight dump works as they clear the mountain. Lupin spots the plans for the bomb in Fujiko's hair as they celebrate, ordering Jigen to shred it. Big thing to mention with this episode is that it was the first of two Series 2 episodes to be written and directed by Teruki Tsutomu. You might know him better as Hayao Miyazaki. Certainly has his distinguishing marks, what with the elaborate aircraft, the anti-nuclear undertones, and Lineback's men resembling the Dola pirates from Castle in the Sky. Both episodes were also the only two after the first half of the series to be dubbed in English too, albeit with a different cast and distributor. Lineback was based on Theodore Roosevelt, and his design played a part in the creation of a certain egg-shaped scientist who built a lot of flying machines. Naoto Oshima, Sonic's character designer, even put up a piece of Lupin fan art to commemorate Monkey Punch's passing. As for the episode itself, Certainly wouldn't expect Miyazaki to strip down Fujiko, given his addition to Series 1 made the gang a lot more family-friendly by comparison. Granted, she's not the only one who fights in her skivvies. Speaking of which, it's cool to see her holding her own against Lombax's men, and managing to help Lupin while doing so. Also nice to see how much content manages to fit into one episode, and how expressive it looks visually as well as being nicely animated. This aired after Miyazaki did Cagliostro, so I guess he brought his experience with him from that. Lupin's infiltrating the Bank of America. When he blasts into the safe, he finds it already empty, however. The only thing left is a note claiming that the thief's next target will be the thing he values most. The gang find Fujiko gambling in Vegas with a boy sitting close by. Lupin confronts them and learns that the boy, Romanov, has a knack for predicting winning numbers amongst other things. As Romanov explains his skill, they're attacked by a group of men. They capture one, but he's blown up by an internal bomb, naturally one of Romanov's inventions. Romanov explains that the attackers are KGB, as they see him as a traitor for even coming to America. Thanks to Fujiko's convincing, Lupin and Romanov decide on a contest to gain the most money in one day, as she informs Zenigata. Lupin starts with a casino, but discovers Romanov cleaned them out. He gets the same result at a bank, learning that most other banks in the region are in the same boat. Shooting a remaining coin bag gives him an idea. He hits up slot machines with explosive coins, shutting them out and allowing him to grab what he needs. He also runs into Zenigata while cleaning out some vending machines. Gathering at a meeting spot, Lupin dumps his earnings in front of Romanov. Romanov suspects that he doesn't have enough, but declares a draw, figuring it'd take too long to count. At this, Fujiko suggests a contest to steal the biggest diamond in 24 hours. Fujiko goes on a date with a CIA agent, learning that Romanov is taking a special medication that enhances his intelligence. Jigen and Goemon were listening in and tried to talk Lupin out of the contest, which goes about how you'd expect. Romanov figures that Lupin's target will be the American star number 1, heading to the museum where Zenigata is guarding it. Dismissed as no threat, he sneaks in, dumping a sheet from his notebook after complaining he's low on time. Lupin picks it up, noting a number 10 written in Japanese. Romanov handles the security, knowing that he has 10 seconds to pick up each of the 3 diamonds on display. He's foiled when Lupin impersonates Zenigata, running away. Lupin takes the diamonds he left, looking at the page again. His analysis gets interrupted by Zenigata, so he escapes as one of the guards. Everyone gathers again, and Fujiko is given the number 2 diamond by Romanov and the number 3 diamond by Lupin. Romanov faints as the KGB arrive to attack. Fujiko drives Romanov away while the others fight. Goemon cutting up the last one's propellers ensures Romanov's safety. Later, at a beach, Lupin and Fujiko discuss Romanov. He's fine, but the medication is also causing him to prematurely age, so he might not have long to live. They then make their escape from the ever-pursuing Zenigata. Wouldn't expect an episode involving Lupin fighting the KGB to be one of the quieter episodes, but here you go. The final fight against them had some decent action at any rate, if a bit short-lived. Interesting to see Lupin's pride as a thief being used against him too, even if he did eventually have a change of heart when he learned the nature of Romanov's medication. Fujiko has been asked to serve as a model for a Norwegian sculptor who's making a mermaid statue from a giant pearl. Lupin's jealous but gets thrown out. As he contemplates how to seal the statue, an angry Fujiko enters. She reveals that after promising her the statue, the sculptor was approached by the mayor of Bergen, wanting the statue for public display, and, well, everyone has their price. Zenigata is overseeing the statue's transport, knowing who it was modelled after. Lupin and Fujiko board the train as it passes under a bridge. He laughs at the lack of security, with even the safe completely unlocked. His initial plan is to simply uncouple the car containing the statue. This doesn't work as Fujiko remembers seeing they're coupled in a weird way. He then ends up falling into Zenigata's car. Jigen and Goemon are on hand, airlifting him and Fujiko to safety. The police force fire but are stopped by an oncoming tunnel. Pondering his next move, Lupin directs Jigen further down the train line. Backing a personal train to a tunnel exit, he has Goemon cut a pile of snow to obstruct the track. After this, he uses his train car to bump off the track and cut a ravine down the mountain, with Goemon attached to the train for maximum cutting power or something. Zenigata's worried about Lupin's next move, with the mayor's talk about Viking ancestry not really doing much to put him at ease. Lupin and Fujiko jump aboard the train again. Lupin fits a large string on the statue's car as Zenigata is informed they're about to reach the final tunnel. Lupin knocks out the driver and makes sure the train is knocked into the ravine. By this point, Zenigata's too drunk on a Kevit to notice anything, having been offered it as a calming aid. Goemon hooks onto the statue's car as the train launches off the cliff. It's pulled down and the spring pulls the other car towards Zenigata's. Fujiko worries about their landing, but Lupin calculated it so the train lands relatively safely on the track below. They make their escape as the train reaches Bergen. Or rather, crashes into Bergen as the driver didn't wake up in time. The mayor's angered at the loss of the statue more than anything else, unleashing wrath upon Zenigata. The gang get ready to admire the statue, but it shatters apart due to Lupin forgetting to close the safe and it bumping around too much. Kind of odd that for as much as it seemed to be built up early on, the sculptor plays a pretty minimal role. The mayor makes up for it though, much of an amusing hypocrite as he is to get angry when he was the one telling everyone that everything was fine. Certainly hope that snow melts before the next train comes through too. Fun way of getting their target at any rate. I have to wonder if Final Fantasy VIII's writers had this episode in mind with their train mission. Lupin tells Jigen to aim for a target placed on his head. He's protected by bulletproof glass, warning that the real target's glass will be even thicker. They have their eye on a diamond auction atop the marine tower. Disguising as Zenigata, Lupin does some recon and plants a target on one of the windows. He also confirms with the organiser, Olivia, that the entire room will be electrified overnight. An elevator is the only way in or out of the room, as they confirm and reveal they're actually Lupin and Fujiko. As they leave, they entrust a box to some officers. That contains Zenigata and Olivia. Jigen's the first to get into place, setting up and finding his target. Night falls and Lupin cuts his way into the elevator shaft. Jigen begins firing at the target, hoping to weaken the spot enough before he runs out of bullets. As Zenigata waits outside the elevator, Goemon causes a distraction. He throws a dart at the call button and races off. Zenigata stops them running after him as he figures it may be a trap. He then falls through the elevator door and goes back and forth deciding on whether or not to take it up to the top floor. It gets sent up on its own, but Lupin's riding underneath anyway. Jigen's starting to get low on ammo, and not helping is that Zenigata's discovered his spent bullets. Lupin's reached the diamond hall, and Jigen finally manages to have a bullet pierce the glass. Things go a bit awry when Zenigata calls the elevator back down, but Lupin hides in time. He makes himself known as it goes back up, but Zenigata falls through a hole in the floor while he rants. Jigen's managed to drill through the window by this point, firing one more bullet that has an adhesive and a cable that sticks to the other side. Lupin fogs up the room and gets to work as Zenigata deals with a disguise check. With his last bullet, Jigen fires out a searchlight, allowing Goemon to intercept the elevator as it comes back down. The shaft is covered by the same glass, so it takes a lot to cut through. Lupin nearly misses the elevator but manages to reach it in time. Goemon finally cuts through the glass, but there's a power cut. Zenigata confirms that it won't be fixed until dawn, which suits him just fine. Lupin tells Goemon to cut through the elevator cables, figuring he'll jump across. He just about manages it with Goemon pulling him to safety. Zenigata investigates the wreckage, but it's too late. The gang divide their diamonds as Fujiko arrives. She fires at them, wanting the diamonds for herself. Jigen's trigger finger and Goemon's sword arm are still in bad shape, but Lupin manages to breathe and fog up her helicopter's windscreen. Using this, they escape with the diamonds. I have to say, I like the visual style in the opening few minutes. Interesting how something as simple as a power cut is able to deliver some tension to the story too. It was also good to see the gang each playing their part in the heist itself. Less so Fujiko, I suppose, but she didn't get as much of a share of the diamonds in the end anyway. Next time, a treasure in the Holy Land, a heist for a piano, a diamond highway chase, and the secret of Jigen's marksmanship sees us through to episode 152. Until then,